Some wisdom is found on the surface, and some wisdom takes us deeper. Welcome to Get Deep, where we dive into the thoughts, truths, and affirmations that help us grow, reflect, and move forward. I'm Deborah D.E.E.P, Mouton, and every episode we'll explore the power of words, the strength of resilience, and the beauty of introspection. Come in, take a seat, and let's get deep. In 2017, I became the first Black Poet Laureate of the city of Houston. That is big. Historic even. It's interesting being the first of anything, I think, comes with a list of rules that one has to ascribe to. I remember quickly thinking, was my social media account problematic? Would someone cancel me? Not that I even think that I'm a problematic person, but I think when you're in the spotlight, you assume everyone is coming for you. I scoured through endless posts, making sure there was nothing that I had said that could be taken out of context. I talked with policy officials that advised me to be careful on how I approached politics when I got to my social media accounts and my public-facing events. I remember thinking how heavy the burden now was for every word that I said to be memorable and measurable and quotable at some point in time in the future. It seemed quite overwhelming, to be honest with you, to know that everything you say has to be under a lens of being looked at. And in a lot of ways, it started to affect my artistry. I started writing poems in private and not performing them for fear of what people would say around them. But there were a few poems that I just couldn't let go of. One in particular, called Open Season. This poem was a response to the killing of Trayvon Martin. Talked about how the police had open season in the ways that hunters do on Black bodies, and that we had seen a growing number of police incidents, specifically those that are filmed, starting to make their rounds around television, around the news. And that is a really troubling thing to sit with. To know that the first real dead body I saw was one that was being murdered in a video that started without me even prompting it. Technology is a beautiful thing when used correctly, and we absolutely need the witness of these events. However, being a person who is now a spokesperson for what it means to be Black, to be woman, and to be a first in Houston, Texas felt like a lot. And so the time came for me to stand next to the mayor and take pictures, for us to be inaugurated into this giant event held for the city. They asked for me to read a few poems. And I kept going through time and time again what I wanted to read. I even wrote a new poem that talked about what it meant to hold such a prestigious space. One that felt at times more performative than it did really sound and insightful. But I knew that part of this job was doing that too. It was writing the Coca-Cola jingle, right? Not selling out necessarily, but learning how to be a little bit more commercial so that the moments when I really spoke out, they could resonate even louder. I made the choice that I may just read Open Season at the opening. Now, let me set the stage for you. There's a giant room filled with dignitaries, political officials, council people, and sitting front and center is the mayor and the chief of police. I looked at that page over and over again, wondering if I was making the biggest mistake to start this career as Poet Laureate. Would I be well received? Would there be outrage? Is this the moment that I go viral? I wasn't sure, but I was willing to take whatever consequence it was if it meant raising a light on an issue that I found to be really, really important. So I took the stage. I started with the soft poem, the one dedicated to being Poet Laureate. I figured if I sandwiched the poems with something a little more hard-hitting in the middle, maybe they'd stick around to see how I resolve things at the end. And as I set into Open Season, thinking about the first few lines that set the stage for police hunting Black bodies, I looked over at the chief of police, who firmly folded his arms and sat back in his seat with disgust. From the back, my slamily, is what we call them, my poetry slam family, emerged and erupted, clapping and cheering me on, screaming "Spit Poet" with every line. And in that moment, they anchored me in ways that I can never thank them for. I got through the poem and immediately the chief of police and his staff stood up and left. I remember looking at the mayor and seeing him with this sort of smile, sort of sad grimace, not sure exactly how he felt or what I could say. And as I finished the last poem and exited stage, I remember hearing one of my close friends just say, "Oof," afterwards. And I wondered if I had completely committed political suicide. As the event went on, we did the things. We kissed the babies. We took the pictures. We made all of the newscast interviews and their sound bites happen. And I remember wondering what would happen afterwards. And what happened was very clear. I made a statement. That statement was received. I couldn't control how it was received or when it was received, but what I learned from that was that sometimes it takes bold statements. It takes you putting your comfort at risk for you to move how things are discussed. From that moment on, people knew who I was, what I stood for, and what were going to be the things that I challenged around me. That I was even willing to take on the chief of police to discuss issues that mattered to my community. They say that fortune favors the bold, that there's something in accomplishing taking a risk. I like to say that being bold and brave doesn't mean that you're not scared. There's a beautiful thing in doing things afraid that makes us be able to reap things we never thought that we could have. So today, say the bold thing, do the brave thing. I look back at that moment with no regrets, knowing that I took up all of my space, something that no one ever told me I could do. So take up your space, own your love, seek your praise, and push for a world that's better because you may be the one person that can actually make it happen. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. I hope this moment of reflection stays with you, guides you, and reminds you to keep going. If you found value in this episode, let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at Live Life Deep and share your thoughts, your wisdom, and your light. And if you're enjoying the podcast, the best way to support it is simple. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps others find this space of growth and inspiration. This has been a Gemini's production. You can explore some of the other podcasts on the network by going to GeminisProductions.com or following on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at Gemini's Productions. Until next time, remember, you've been given today. What you do with it is up to you.